What was once the Polk County Courthouse now serves as the Polk County History Center and houses the Historical Museum and Library. The museum serves Polk's community through special events, volunteer opportunities, and educational programs. More details are coming up next on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Tina Mann, and joining me in the studio today is Myrtis Young, the Historic Preservation Manager at the Polk County History Center.
Good morning, Tina.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we are now going into my very, very favorite time of the year, which is the holidays. So what do we have on tap for November?
Well, you know, in November, it's so funny, our cool months in Florida, we will reinstate the cemetery tour down at Oak Hill Cemetery. And, you know, that is just such an interesting way to walk through history. 510 grave sites dating back to 1860 provides a really interesting opportunity to think about the early pioneers that settled the area, the early history of the county. The grave sites in that cemetery represent every military conflict from the very beginning up to the Vietnam conflict. And we're just really excited about that. We'll start at the History Center, take that walk through history down at the Oak Hill Cemetery.
And so people need to wear sturdy footwear.
Oh, yes.
Because it is a little uneven, and they can actually meet you there if they need to.
Can. If the 1 mile walk is just a little too much, we'll just meet you at the entrance to the cemetery.
We're at least hoping that it's going to be a cooler month. But that's going to be November 2nd at 11.
Correct.
And that goes through April?
We do the tour through April. Usually by May, it's beginning to get too warm for that.
Too warm
outside.
And too many mosquitoes. So let's not do that. So the other big thing that is always in November is my favorite, the Festival of Wreaths. Why don't you talk about opening night?
Tina, I am so proud to say this is our 9th anniversary, and the opening night on November 7th. At 5 o'clock, from 5 to 7, we will give the public the opportunity to come in and see the beautiful wreaths that will be on display. Every year they're different, every wreath is different, and every year it opens with so much excitement. We again are so proud to be able to feature the Frostproof Middle and High School Choir. And, you know, this is the choir who last year performed at the White House, and they are just outstanding. And their beautiful voices lift such a lovely sound in the rotunda.
Every time I go into the History Center, I sing because I like the way it echoes, but I can't sing that well, so it's really nice when you can hear, you know, the choir sing. So is Santa going to be there?
Yes, indeed. Santa's debut will occur that evening on November 7th. He'll be there with his elf, and he'll be able to visit with the children who come to the museum. We'll have a special place set up for Santa, and you can also take selfies with Santa and his elf that night.
That's always fun. So you can bid on the wreaths. It'll be an online wreath bidding.
Correct.
Through December 12th.
Correct.
So that's always fun because, I mean, you get these just beautiful quality wreaths, and they're done by, you know, just a variety of people, including myself. So you should go bid on my wreath. And then you have a second holiday celebration coming up as well in conjunction with Magic on Main.
We do. This is new this year. We, again, will feature Santa at the museum. And this is, we'll call it the prelude to Magic on Main in Bartow. Santa will be in the museum, and at 6 o'clock we'll feature a program about the traditions of Christmas. You know, sometimes I'm sure we wonder about why evergreens and why particular colors and why do we do certain things during the holidays. Well, Santa, who's been around since Christmas began, knows about all those traditions, and will be in the museum, and we'll do a special program at 6 o'clock. That's going to be upstairs on the second floor. And then when he concludes that program, Santa will leave the museum and go out on the streets and with his magic light downtown Bartow at 6:30.
That's such a good family event. And of course, you always have your other family activities as well. So what do we have up for Curators of Curiosity this month?
Well, November, we're celebrating the turkey. I'm not really sure that that's exactly the correct thing to say, since we're also eating the turkey, but we're celebrating the turkey, and our little young learners will be creating, they'll use a paper bag, and they'll be creating a turkey puppet with their bag. So we'll celebrate the turkey. And our History Time Tots, their book that they'll be reading is How to Catch a Turkey.
I don't think I want to catch a turkey, but it sounds like a fun book.
Yeah, turkeys might, I don't know, do you think they would be like bite?
They're pretty big.
They're big.
I think they would scare me.
Maybe our book will teach us not only how to catch a turkey, but how to tame a turkey.
Maybe. We'll just have to go listen to the story to find out.
That's right.
So we also, as always, have the architectural tour. That's coming up on November 16th. Do we have a special emphasis this month?
We do. The building was built in 1908, and although it always had electricity, it had a different form of electricity using fuses and a very different system. And when the preservation architect did the restoration of the building, when that was done, they did a really special thing for us. They kept a display in the museum to allow us an opportunity to show people how that electrical system worked. So we're going to be looking at that and talking about that and how that worked with fuses. And some people that visit the museum that might have a historic home, I've been always surprised when they'll say, oh, our house had this, but we changed it all out now. We don't use that anymore.
Well, that's because it was quite the fire hazard as well.
Yeah.
But it's so colorful and pretty.
It
so
is.
That's a really cool
It
thing
is.
to actually feature.
And speaking of decorations, they almost look like little glass decorations.
They
don't
do.
Those little fuses.
You open your current breaker box and it's just ugly mess, but now back then it was actually aesthetically pleasing.
It was.
Well, what is coming up for Out of the Archives? This is the last one for this year.
It is the last one. Preston Petermeyer, our research historian, is going to be speaking about the use of family Bibles in conducting genealogical research. Bibles, and particularly family Bibles that were in the family for many years, have great resources of history, marriages, deaths, births, and we have, interestingly, a very significant collection of family Bibles at the History Center. So Preston is going to bring some of those out. We'll have a chance to look through them and talk about how we can utilize information in the Bibles and encourage people to continue collecting family history by recording them in methods like the Family Bible.
This has been such a fun series this last year, and this is your last chance to get to see it this year, so everybody needs to come out and check it out. And I didn't even know you had that many family Bibles, so that's pretty cool.
Isn't that interesting? And he'll probably talk about the preservation of them, what we do. That's a special treatment for them. They're in a special room in our antiquarian collection. So he'll talk about that and what we do to preserve them, and name some of the families that who've donated their family Bibles to us. And it'll be an interesting day. And I'm glad you mentioned that. We have had fun this year with our Out of the Archive series. So as we're preparing for next year, that's a vote of confidence as we continue thinking about what we'll be doing next year. So we may just continue something similar to that, because it's been really fun looking inside our archives and our closets to see items that have been donated that may not find their way into an exhibit, but they're very interesting, whimsical sometimes, items that have been fun to visit. So we may do a little more of that next year, Tina, if you think that's a good idea.
I think it's a fabulous idea. So I'm assuming you guys are closed for Thanksgiving and the day after.
We are. The History Center will be closed, yes, on Thanksgiving Day and Friday. We'll open again on Saturday, November 30th. Business as usual. Come back and then visit the wreaths, and remember to come pick out the one that might be left for purchase.
Right, and come relax in the History Center after all that Black Friday shopping.
That's right. That's right.
So we have just a little bit of time left, and I want to keep pushing the events that are coming up in 2020 because as females, it's a very important celebration. So let's remind our listeners about what's coming up.
Tina, 2020 is a really, really big year for us at the History Center. It's an exciting year for the nation. There's a national emphasis on the commemoration of the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, the suffrage movement that gave women the right to vote. In addition to that, next year is also a very significant election year. 2020 is a national election. And we have learned recently, I'm so very proud to share with our audience, that the History Center has been selected as a host site for a traveling exhibit that is the Smithsonian exhibit that's about democracy. So we will start the year with opening our own exhibit about the 19th Amendment. We will feature the play, which is about the trial of Susan B. Anthony, and then we will have celebrations throughout the year of many of our collaborative partners around the county who also are other museums, DAR organizations. The libraries are also featuring this important milestone in history. October to December, we actually will host this exhibit, and we'll talk more about that. It's one voice, one vote, and it is the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. has a full-scale exhibit that is about American democracy. And this exhibit is a scaled-down version made smaller for travel. So we will have a year-long opportunity to think about the Constitution, our founding fathers, our opportunity to vote. When you think about self-rule, democracy really was just a leap in an experiment, and we're still existing, as we move toward 2026 and we begin to hear whispers of the semi-quincentennial as a country will celebrate a milestone. So 2020, the 19th Amendment, the democracy exhibit is going to be a really exciting year for us at the History Center.
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing it, and I thank you for coming on today.
And thank you for having us.
Polk County has a rich history and heritage, and the Polk County History Center is continuously thinking of new ways to help Polk residents experience that history. The museum's collection includes natural and cultural objects related to Polk and the greater Central Florida area that represent our history from pre-Columbian to present-day eras. The artifacts on display at the museum represent individuals, cultural groups, and events significant to the region. Located at 100 East Main Street in Bartow, the History Center is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday. For more information about exhibits and events, you can check them out on the web at polkhistorycenter.org or give them a call at 863-534-4386.